Good night.
On World News Tonight, Bill Clinton says his controversial pardon of a billionaire was not about politics. We try to talk to the former fugitive in Switzerland. The unemployment rate is up. The people who can afford it the least are hurt the worst. The word that went missing from the legislation on drug prices. Mystery on the money trail. And do not get in the way of this. It is avalanche season in the West.
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is World News Tonight with Peter Jennings.
Good evening, everyone. We're going to begin this evening with former President Clinton. 2 weeks as a private citizen, still making news, still being dogged by what he did in the final hours. Today, here in New York, Mr. Clinton defended his decision to pardon the billionaire fugitive Marc Rich, wanted for tax evasion and racketeering, whose former wife was a big contributor to the Clintons. Here's ABC's Aaron Brown.
The controversial pardon came up the moment Mr. Clinton left a meeting on Indian earthquake relief. The former president adopted the central argument made by Marc Rich's lawyers. It should never have been a criminal case. Similar cases were treated as civil offenses, and that option is unaffected by the pardon.
I agreed to do it only on the condition that Mr. Rich would waive all his defenses to the same sort of civil action the government took against everybody else.
Mr. Clinton denied any political connection between the pardon and the fundraising efforts of Denise Rich, the fugitive's ex-wife.
I regret that Denise Rich, who's a perfectly nice woman and never did anything inappropriate, and had been supporting us for years in ways that had nothing to do with this, that she'd been caught into this, but that's politics.
For much of this growing flap, Mr. Clinton blamed the media.
If you don't want to get in political trouble in America, given the way you folks cover things, the best thing to do is always say no. You never get in trouble if you say no. I did what I thought was right.
As for the expensive office space Mr. Clinton is looking at in Manhattan, the former president said taxpayers will only pay about half the $650,000 annual lease.
We'll try to work it out so that what the taxpayers pay for the New York office on a square foot basis per square foot is about what President Reagan pays. I think that's appropriate. Somewhere in that range. So, I'm not going to let the taxpayers get gigged on this.
Nothing Mr. Clinton said today is likely to quell the congressional grumbling about the lease or derail the congressional hearings on the Rich pardon scheduled to begin next week. Aaron Brown, ABC News, New York.
As for Mr. Rich, there are no indications he's coming back to the United States in a hurry. There are, as they say, complications. Here's ABC's Brian Ross.
This village in Switzerland is where Marc Rich lived for the 17 years he was one of America's most wanted fugitives. This week, he could be seen moving around under heavy security. He's the one in the back seat of the limousine on the cell phone. Repeated requests from ABC News to talk with him were unsuccessful. At his office...
Can I ask you to leave as soon as possible, please?
And at his lakeside mansion, where a Swiss flag flies over the property.
I'm sorry, but you cannot take a few pictures.
There are plenty of reasons Rich, who has tried to renounce his American citizenship, would want to stay here. Tax reasons, according to IRS consultant Jack Block.
And as long as he's a United States citizen, he's required to file U.S. tax returns, and those tax returns have to report all his income, wherever earned, in the world.
So are you saying that he now owes taxes, if he hasn't paid them, on the billions he's made in the last 17 years?
You bet.
But as he continues to insist he is not an American citizen, U.S. authorities will be hard-pressed to find a way to force him to pay the tens of millions of dollars in taxes they say he owes. So what the presidential pardon really means to Marc Rich is that the international manhunt for him is over. His name is off the most wanted list. Brian Ross, ABC News, New York.
There'll be more about Mr. Rich later this evening on 2020. Incidentally, Mr. Clinton has given his first television interview as a private citizen. He talked to Israeli television at his home in Chappaqua, New York. One question, so what does he do in the mornings now?
Well, I get up and I read the papers, but much more rapidly than I used to. And then I work with the young man who works with me here, and we unpack boxes. We're unpacking the life that Hillary and Chelsea and I built for
the last 25 years.
You are fully aware of your popularity in Israel, and you are very lonely here in this residence. Why don't you leave everything behind you? Come to Israel. It's a beautiful sun over there. Be with us.
Mr. Clinton said he'd like to, but one thing about Israel these days, there isn't much joy in politics. Mr. Clinton's interview was actually more of an intervention. He is trying to boost the fortunes of the Israeli Prime Minister Ehud Barak before Tuesday's Israeli elections. Mr. Clinton notwithstanding, Mr. Barak is almost certain to be defeated by one of the most controversial figures in the history of Israel. ABC's Gillian Finley reports tonight on Ariel Sharon.
This is how Ariel Sharon is presenting himself on TV these days, as doting grandfather, elder statesman. This is what General Sharon is best known for, brilliance on the battlefield and controversy, lots of it. It was Sharon's visit to Muslim holy sites in Jerusalem last fall that many say provoked the Palestinian uprising.
We talked here about an area.
It was Sharon's idea 2 decades ago to build thousands of homes for Jews on land Palestinians claim. And it was Ariel Sharon who engineered Israel's invasion of Lebanon and was later found to be indirectly responsible for the massacre of hundreds of Palestinian civilians there.
More than 50% of the Israelis don't remember General Sharon, Minister of Defense Sharon from Lebanon. The 72, 73 years old Sharon looks harmless.
But there are plenty of people in Israel and in the Arab world who are convinced that Prime Minister Sharon could do a lot of harm.
This will be a message to every Arab in the Middle East, to every Muslim. Israel is not ready for peace.
Mr. Sharon insists he does want peace with the Palestinians. Prime Minister Barak failed, he says, because he was willing to concede too much and raise Palestinian expectations too high.
Israel was humiliated by its prime minister. That's what happened, and became weaker. When it be very clear what yes is yes and no is no, and there are red lines, it will be a different story.
And if the Palestinians don't bend, if they want war, the supporter says, we have the man for war.
Sharon is a loose cannon. He has proved it again and again. Once he becomes prime minister, you never know where he will stop.
Right now, Ariel Sharon looks unbeatable. Gillian Finley, ABC News, Jerusalem.
Now, the big story home here today was the strongest evidence yet that weakness in the economy is having a major effect on the job market. The unemployment rate rose to 4.2% in January. That's the highest level it has been in 16 months. And ABC's Betsy Stark is here to tell us some of the ramifications.
Well, Peter, all those pink slips that were handed out by big companies in December started to show up in today's report, and nowhere was the pain greater than in manufacturing.
The manufacturing sector lost 65,000 jobs last month, 38,000 in the auto industry alone.
Manufacturing is very weak, and I think we know that it's in a recession and has been for some months.
The newly unemployed also include a disproportionate number of blacks. The unemployment rate for blacks rose 8 times as much as the unemployment rate for whites. And while there was no increase in unemployment among college graduates, the jobless rate for workers without a high school diploma rose 0.5%.
We begin to see the labor market possibly unraveling from the perspective of those kind of at the back of the queue, those rowboats, if you will, who were the last to catch the rising tide.
There were pockets of strength in the job market. The biggest employment increases came in financial services and real estate, healthcare, and most of all construction, which added 145,000 workers. Still, that construction number is not as impressive as it looks. One of the coldest and iciest Decembers on record put many building projects on hold and made January appear unusually strong.
The question now is whether this month's increase in the unemployment rate is a one-time blip or the beginning of a trend that will continue to push the jobless rate higher. And Peter, economists fear it's the latter, the jobless rate may be going higher.
Many thanks, Betsy Stark. On Wall Street today, the Dow Jones Industrial Average was down more than 119 points to close at 10,864. For the week, the Dow was up 204 points. On the NASDAQ, stocks were down 122 points today and 120 points for the week. And as Betsy reported, 40,000 jobs were lost in the automobile industry alone last month, and Michigan is always the first to feel it. And in Michigan, when the numbers go down, there is a story behind every one of the numbers. Here's ABC's Dean Reynolds.
At the GR Spring and Stamping Company, they make lots of springs, hinges, and assorted whatchamacallits for cars. A booming business for company owner Jim Zawacki until this winter.
A year ago, we expected to grow probably 30 to 50% in this year because of what our customers were telling us. That's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen because orders from his car-making customers have dried up.
I don't think anybody expected to go down as fast as it did.
Least of all his employees. 210 in December, 10 were laid off in January, and 10 more are expected to go this month.
How's February look?
Poor.
The change from last year to this year is striking. Instead of having 3 shifts of workers on the job for more than 50 hours a week, they're now down to 2 shifts working no more than 40 hours.
The plant calendar, once full, is wide open, and that's made workers like Roger Peterson understandably
worried. People are really getting worried about it.
Some are raiding their nest eggs and putting off purchases so they can pay off loans.
I like my job, and I'm scared that I've been watching the news. I've been seeing a lot of people laying off, and I'm like, I don't want to get laid off.
Teddy Taylor has operated a press for 2 years, the best-paying job she's ever had. But now she's one of many living on the edge of a suddenly shaky economy.
See you tomorrow.
Dean Reynolds, ABC News, Grand Rapids, Michigan.
When we come back this evening, following the money trail, the missing word in the legislation that cost the taxpayers millions of dollars. And also tonight, the power of the avalanche, trying to protect people from the white wave.
This is World News Tonight with Peter Jennings. Brought to you by Bayer Aspirin.
Try it both ways. Most dancers are afraid of losing a step. After I had my stroke, I was afraid I'd never dance again. Now I take Bayer Aspirin every day, like my doctor said, to help prevent another stroke.
Aspirin is not appropriate for everyone, so be sure to talk to your doctor before you begin an aspirin regimen.
And when my body is sore, I take extra strength Bayer. It's that strong. It's great to be back.
Bayer. Take it for pain, take it for life.
Brummel and Brown, spread the joy around. You're one of a kind, no other will do. Yogurt's goodness dancing through you. Creamy, dreamy, Brummel and Brown, or creamy fruit spreads, the talk of the town. Brummel and Brown, spread the joy around.
Brummel and Brown, instead of butter and margarine or creamy fruit spreads. Brummel and Brown, the only spreads blended with yogurt.
Some people have a passion for driving. One such person is engineer Chris Marr. For the all-new GMC Yukon XL Denali, Chris and the team paired a 320 horsepower V8 to full-time all-wheel drive for a mix of power and agility found in no other SUV. To quote Chris, who says you can't teach a big dog new tricks? Introducing the GMC Yukon XL Denali.
There's something about home runs. The crack of the bat. Watching the ball soar. But sometimes there's something even better. Strategy.
President Bush went to Williamsburg, Virginia today, where the congressional Republicans were having a retreat to bond and talk about legislation and politics. He told them he means it when he says he wants the tone in Washington to change. This morning, Mr. Bush went to the Senate Democrats' retreat at the Library of Congress. We heard that that was friendly and that there were a lot of laughs. There is one thing that's not a laughing matter in the library. The government says it's become a serious fire hazard, that shoddy safety precautions are putting visitors, staff, and some of the nation's most treasured books at risk. There are, for example, no sprinklers in the magnificent main reading room. Some of the most precious pieces in the collection, we're told, are vulnerable. That includes a Gutenberg Bible, one of the first books to be printed in movable type, and Thomas Jefferson's personal book collection. On the money trail tonight, a mystery, the case of the missing word that amounted to millions of dollars. This is about how legislation gets done and sometimes undone in the Congress, and maybe why. First, you need to know that the way in which the government goes about paying for the drugs given to Medicare patients who've been hospitalized is very complex. But then a government agency found that one missing word was costing taxpayers a tidy sum. Here's ABC's Jackie Judd.
The government produced a long list of odd pricing practices. An example, the pharmaceutical company Roche sells an oncologist or hospital anti-nausea medication for $13.81, but the drug maker reports its wholesale price is $18.54. The doctor or hospital submits a claim for the higher price and is reimbursed by Medicare for 95% of it. The $3.80 profit margin is an incentive to continue doing business with that drug maker.
Medicare is paying far too much for these prescription drugs.
Medicare could have saved $761 million in 1999 if it had paid the actual sales price. Enter Congress. Last fall, the House passed a bill calling for a study of the pricing system. Until that happened, reimbursement levels would be frozen. They would not, quote, increase or decrease. Then, in December, something mysterious happened. When House and Senate officials were in final negotiations, the word increase disappeared, and the bill became law. So reimbursements can go up, but they cannot go down.
Doctors and hospitals benefit because they are receiving a much higher payment from Medicare than their actual costs for this.
The price of changing the legislation could be another $200 million. Whose fingerprints were on the costly word change? Hard to say for certain. A Democratic source says that all the changes were cleared at the highest levels of the Republican leadership. Calls to Speaker Hastert and Senate Majority Leader Lott were not returned. Was it pressure from cancer doctors? Their lobbyist says no. Was it an administrative error that the word increase ever showed up at all, as some Republicans claim?
Could have been an honest mistake, a very cleverly crafted mistake, I might add, that only benefits the pharmaceutical companies.
At least one drug maker raised wholesale prices 9% since the bill passed. Because of the invisible hand that recrafted the legislation, taxpayers probably will soon be paying for that increase. Jackie Judd, ABC News, Washington.
On the money trail. When we come back this evening, swallowed by the snow.
It was frightening. I didn't know when or if I'd get out.
Indoors or outdoors, you should see your best.
Right now at LensCrafters, complete pairs of prescription glasses or sunglasses are only $99 each. Why not get both? The $99 indoor-outdoor sale. Hurry, offer ends soon.
Just how powerful are new Whisk laundry tablets? So powerful, it's as if dirt never happened at all. Whisk Dual Action Tablets.
My doctor called it a natural cycle. As we age, our cartilage wears down and we're less flexible. The less we move, the more our joints feel it. Now I've broken that cycle with Move Free.
Move Free contains the amounts of glucosamine and chondroitin recommended by researchers to help rebuild and lubricate joint cartilage.
Break the cycle.
Move better, feel better with Move Free from Schiff. Now enter to win a cruise for two on Carnival in the Cruise Free with Move Free sweepstakes.
Tall, chubby, skinny, babies. They come in all shapes and sizes, including yours. That's why there's Pampers Premium Custom Fit. The only diaper with sides so stretchy, they adjust to fit big babies, little babies, and your baby too. Finally, a diaper as unique as he is. Pampers Premium Custom Fit. Fitting every step of the way.
Are you ready to see yourself as others see you? I didn't know I was so gray. Now escape that old gray look with new Just for Men. More than a hair color, it's the Rejuvenator. Just for men, shampoos away gray in 5 easy minutes, and now has vitamins. It brings back a thicker, healthier look that's completely natural.
I like what I see.
Just for men, more than a hair color, it's the Rejuvenator.
There's a place where all people come together to enjoy friends and the good food of life. It's got to be Applebee's. Oh my, Applebee's steak toppers. Tender top sirloin decked out in your choice of South Philly cheese, Louisiana pepper char grill, or ooh-wee, Carolina pit barbecue. It's got to be Applebee's. Eating good,
Sunday, Colin Powell, war hero, role model, Secretary of State. An exclusive interview with one of the country's most admired men. Sunday only on This Week.
Joe Namath is New York. He's Broadway. He's Super Bowl III.
Sports Century, the top 50 and beyond. Weeknights at 8, only on ESPN Classic.
And now the adventure you do not want to have. Fortunately, most Americans never will. In various parts of the West, this is getting to be the height of the avalanche season. 13 people have been killed already this year as more Americans venture into the backcountry. The avalanche is a terrifying spectacle. ABC's Bill Rediker reports from the Wasatch Mountains in Utah.
Racing down a mountainside at 80 miles per hour, avalanches are among nature's most awesome and deadly spectacles.
I heard like this just roaring thunder, and I look and I just see it all coming.
14-year-old Nate Lloyd was sledding near Alta, Utah. As he snapped photographs of his friend jumping on the unstable snow above, it collapsed.
The whole slope gave way, and I mean, I just didn't really have much time to react.
He was buried alive under 4 feet of snow before he was rescued nearly a half hour later. Most victims survive only 15 minutes.
I mean, it was frightening.
It did not have to happen. Most avalanche accidents are preventable because nearly all of them are triggered by people.
In much of the West, the snowpack is so unstable that it doesn't take much effort to dislodge it, which is one reason why there have been so many avalanches this winter.
The other reason is the number of people visiting the backcountry beyond ski resorts. Inexperienced backcountry enthusiasts have triggered many of the slides. To get a better idea of when and where avalanches will occur, the Forest Service uses a new computerized program from Switzerland. It automatically collects data such as temperature, precipitation, snow depth, and density from remote weather stations, and then predicts how the snowpack will change over time.
And that's really valuable because we can have some idea of how the snowpack is evolving in all those different areas just from our office.
Learning to control avalanches is also improving. Sunrise at Snowbird Ski Resort. Ski patrollers armed with explosives have always tossed bombs to release avalanches before they can threaten skiers.
The avalanche control work is the first element and an essential element to getting this particular ski area open.
2-pound bombs, artillery guns, recoilless rifles. And now, new technology has been added to the arsenal. Gaz-X, it's called. At Snow Basin Ski Resort in Utah, Mike Jenkins clears avalanche paths from the comfort of his office.
Fire in the hole about 6 seconds.
Using a computer to trigger an explosion on a mountain 2 miles away.
It's an explosion from a combined oxygen-propane mixture that ignites a spark, just a large blast right at the snow surface.
No shells?
No.
Despite all the advances in forecasting and controlling avalanches, only 1 out of every 4 victims lives to tell about it. Nate Lloyd is very lucky.
Yeah, I've thought about that. It's just amazing that I made it.
No one disagrees. Bill Rediker, ABC News, Alta, Utah.
When we come back, why should you believe the groundhog anyway?
I don't have to worry about my dentures slipping. When I use Super Polygrip, I can eat apples, I can eat corn, hard rolls, you name it. Super Polygrip lasts all day long, even through dinner. I thought I would never be able to eat another apple again when I got my dentures. Thanks to Super Polygrip, I don't have that problem.
Indoors or outdoors, you should see your best.
Right now at LensCrafters, complete pairs of prescription glasses or sunglasses are only $99 each. Why not get both? The $99 indoor-outdoor sale. Hurry, offer ends soon.
You know how uncomfortable you feel when you're constipated. So why take a laxative with stimulants that could cause abdominal discomfort and cramps? You need Phillips Milk of Magnesia. All these overnight laxatives contain stimulants. This one even says on the label it can cause abdominal discomfort, faintness, and cramps. But Phillips is different. It doesn't contain stimulants, so you should feel more comfortable. Phillips, the comfortable way.
Let me take over. The 2001 Mitsubishi Galant, now available with 1.9% APR for 5 whole years.
You know, it's really very simple.
You choose to be healthy. You choose to be successful. You choose to give back. You choose to be yourself. The choices you want, the voice you need to make the most out of life. Today's AARP.
Something amazing is happening. It will change the way you bake your cookies, sweeten your cereal, even drink your coffee. Introducing Splenda No-Calorie Sweetener. It's made from sugar, so it tastes like sugar, but it's not sugar. It's Splenda No-Calorie Sweetener. Pretty amazing, huh?
The NHL All-Star Game, presented by Nortel Networks. The AFC NFC Pro Bowl. Just for one day. ABC Sports All-Star Sunday. This week at 2:30 Eastern, 11:30 a.m. Pacific. We could be heroes.
Finally, this evening, we thought you'd like to know the groundhog has a lousy record. Yes, this is Groundhog Day, and the media usually loves it, waiting impatiently for the news from Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania. Will the groundhog see his shadow? Will winter be long or short? Does it matter? The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration says that Punxsutawney Phil, they use government language, doesn't show predictive skills and hasn't for the last 12 years. Think about it. How do we know he saw his shadow anyway? Did anyone ask him? Watch your local weatherman tonight and see what he says. That's our report on World News Tonight. Don't forget Nightline later this evening, and Sunday morning on This Week, they'll have Colin Powell's first interview since he became the Secretary of State. I'm Peter Jennings. Hope you have a good weekend. Good night.
.2020 comes face to face with
hello, Clary.
Barbara Walters with Anthony Hopkins
You're almost as weird as, oh, excuse me.
on 2020 tonight.
It's to die for.
First, fast, accurate. News 2 at 6 starts now with developing news.
Good evening, everyone. We began tonight with developing news. A 2-year-old Davidson County child is at Vanderbilt Medical Center being treated for symptoms of meningitis.
And for the very latest, we go live to News 2's Dan McDonald at Vanderbilt. Dan?
Well, Bob, they think they have what they're describing as a potential case